Okay, short-term survival. Um, 8 hours to 30 days. And this one gets tricky because this is water. I was going to do food, water, and drink. Uh, Looks like I'm going to break them down into three different ones. I'm going to start with water because water is, in many ways, the most important. Um, Anyhow, for your standard, really, truly short-term emergency, um, say 8 to 72 hours, water is really not that much of a problem. Um, you'll have some on hand, no, assuming the water even goes out during that period of time. But assuming that it does, I mean, you'll have some water on hand. You'll have soda, Gatorade, whatever it is that you drink. You know, probably have coffee in the pot, though you won't be able to make it hot. So, well, we all suffer our indignities. But for 8 to 72 hours, you're likely to get through fairly well without having to do any particular extra preparedness. Um, for 8 to 72 hours, I would seriously recommend an extra case of bottled water. Um, if your water goes out, you can, you know, a case of 35, a case of 48, or 36, whatever, you know, relatively large case of bottled water you can get, maybe a gallon or two extra. Gallons are relatively inexpensive. They're about $1.25 a gallon for different cheaper waters, store brand particularly. And it's helpful to have a few gallons of water, even in an 8 to 72 hour time frame. Why? Because that's the water you'll be using to brush your teeth. That's the water you'll be using to flush your toilets, cook your food, etc. So it is good to have a few gallons on hand. Now, the American federal government anyway, I don't know who's watching this from where, the American federal government recommends that you have 7 days of food and water on hand per person. And that's tricky to do. Three-person family, you're looking at 21 gallons of water set aside somewhere in your home. And that's a hard row to hoe. It's worth it, to be honest. It's worth it. If you can figure out how to do that, that's up to you. But it is worth it to do that, even for a 7-day emergency. But again, 8 hours to 72 hours. Uh, you know, a good basic rule of thumb is to have one extra large case of bottled water on hand, and maybe a gallon or two, a few gallons of extra water. I don't mean to disagree with the federal government because it's a good recommendation, but they're taking into account that you'll be drinking a lot of it and whatnot. And more likely than not, in a true short-term emergency, you'll be getting your liquids in another form. So the water that you'll need will just be for washing up, for brushing your teeth, for flushing your toilets, for cooking your food. I mean, it's serious. Now, a trick. If you think that your water may be going out for more than a few days, and you have a bathtub, before any major calamity comes your way, a hurricane, tropical storm, a threat of tornadoes, you know, just horrible weather, a blizzard, etc., you'll get a day or two's advance notice. And what you should do is clean, bleach, and fill your bathtub. On average, that's 60 to 80 gallons of fresh, usable water, what's called potable water. Um, and you should have that on hand for any time that you think an emergency may go more than a day. That you think your water may be out more than a day. That's just a really good trick. It's very handy. Yeah, you're not going to be able to shower, but if your water's out, you're not going to be able to shower anyway. So, there you have it. Okay, if you don't have a bathtub, then you're stuck, you know, finding some place to store um, a decent supply of water. You know, as I said, for truly short-term water, for a truly short-term emergency, 8 to 72 hours, a few gallons and one or two extra cases of bottled water will probably get you through quite nicely. Um, we've never had to go any further than that in the city. Uh, we cut it close once in the suburbs, but you know, well, that is what it is. For anything after a week, things get dicey for water. Um, if you live in an area where the water is likely to be out for more than a week, you need to find some way to stockpile. Uh, that's just the reality. And a gallon per day per person is probably what you should do. Um, if you're looking at the water being out for more than a week, or you're looking at the water coming back on and not being drinkable, a gallon per day per person is definitely something you should keep in mind. I understand that can mean 100, 150 gallons depending on the size of your family. Uh, there are water storage um, devices out there, products. Uh, I chose not to bring the laptop up today and show you what those options are, but you can find them on eBay. I mean, you can find them on Amazon. You can find them on Walmart. Um, they're around. Some are stackable. 50-gallon drums are available if you're that concerned. Um, for other things you should keep in mind is you should have a pack of water purification tablets on hand. They run about $10 for 50, and if I'm remembering correctly, that's 50 quarts, which is about 10 and a half, 12 gallons. Uh, you know, as I said, water gets dicey. It depends on where you are. If you're in a place where your water goes out for 30 days on any kind of regular basis, then you already know that. You probably already have your water uh, solutions planned out. For people who are in areas where things don't generally go out for much more than 2 or 3 days, urban, um, you can get away with light preparedness. Okay, gallon of water per day per person for basically however long you think your water's going to be out for. My advice, get prepared beforehand, because a lot of people are going to stock up the day before. You've all been there. We've all been to Walmart on the day before a big blizzard, and there's like one loaf of bread and one thing of bagels, and everything else is gone. Don't be that person. It's just not good to be that person. Aside from water purification tablets, there are water filtration systems. If you think that you're going to be facing a you know, major loss of your water for more than say 7 days. It does not hurt to have a water filtration system. They range from $30 to $200, and there's the Life Straw, which is I believe $19.99 at Bud K. Okay, for lack of better terms, this sums up water. Uh, why is water important? Pretty simple. If you don't know this already, then let me be the first to tell you. If you don't have some liquid in your system, water, uh, Gatorade, something, in more than a 3-day period, you will most likely die. Uh, you, your children, your spouse. So, you know, water for cleaning yourself, water for brushing your teeth, stuff like that. That's all really handy. But if you don't have some sort of liquid intake over a 3-day period, you you die. Uh, so this is a serious subject, and a 30-day catastrophe, while it's not the end of the world, while it's not the fault of the government, while it's not etc., it can really put a hurting on you. So keep the filled bathtub in mind, and if you're in an area where you know you're likely to be without services for a period of time, stock up. 1 gallon per person per day. Um, okay, thank you. Uh, that's it for me. David Keynes, that's water. Food and drink will be next.